Vanessa, touching on Albert, speaking of currency, CPC, but also fans and likes, I'm interested to hear on your blog, since you kind of play in both, participating in communities, but also having SEO, which I think is very rare for a blogger to do on their own. What do you see as far as return on traffic? Because I think everyone wants to know, like, how do I get readers?
That's like the question, and it's one of the most common questions I get too. Is how do you go from getting 5 people coming to your blog a day to having thousands of people coming to your blog a day? And as Albert touched on it, SEOing has been so predominant for so many years now because, of course, you want to be first in the page rank or second or whatnot. In terms of traffic for myself personally, SEOing, it's hard to quantitate, the number of people that are being driven to your blog by SEOing. I mean, when you pull up your Google Analytics, there isn't a section where it's like, oh, great URL structure, great HTML coding brought you X number of visitors a day, right? But if you look at social media, if you have a Facebook page, if you have Twitter, and if you put links up of blog posts, you know how many people are coming to your blog every single day. So I don't know. I don't know if it's. I'd like to think it's both. I'd like to think it's my content and the hard work I've been putting into social networking that's been getting me all my traffic. And I think it's important for everybody that's trying to get more traffic, and everyone wants more traffic, right? In this room, you want to grow. You need to use both. You need to. I mean, SEOing seems kind of daunting at first, but Google has great tools online, that you can look up if you don't know anything about SEO and you can read. You don't agree?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I thought he was like nodding his head. I'm like, dude, you're from Google. You should be They do, really, they do. You can just Google SEOing tips, and Google, the first thing that should pop up is a PDF file. And that's what, when I first started, 11 pages of teaching you basic SEOing. And everyone, you should really look at it and start applying it to what you do. And again, social media, using the both of those together.
And Dina, when you work with brands, what do you find is the most effective?
Sure, I think that it's universal whether you're a blogger or whether you're a brand who's trying to get traffic to your site. Content is king. So as a blogger, your content is of paramount importance. And as a marketer, you're only as good as your brand, as your content, as your initiative. So certainly you can drive a wealth of traffic through all of the cross-promotion that you'll do through your social communities, through building the number of likes that you have on Facebook as a brand by doing really cool, innovative things, kind of to engage your existing fans, acquire new fans. The same goes for Twitter, acquiring followers. And then that works in conjunction with SEO. I feel like the two certainly complement one another, and one can never replace the other.
And I think with SEO and with the Facebook page and Twitter, you sort of extend your brand and kind of say, here's who I am. And Francesca, I'm wondering, coming from Twitter, and you see these brands, there's not much customization you can do. You change your background, you change your icon, you talk about your product. What have you seen be successful in for a brand to generate brand recognition via Twitter and translate that into, I'm curious about your site, I want to go to?
I'm going to give you probably the most successful and yet outlandish example that recently happened. We had an agency who decided to do a campaign for Old Spice, and I don't know if a lot of you have seen some of the Old Spice commercials. They're hilarious. They're the best. After it was all said and done, I actually did a parody video that we showed internally because I liked it so much. Point is, they did a really customized kind of campaign, if you will, for a few days. Some of the campaign obviously involved buying some of our monetization products, but a lot of it happened also organically, where they solicited crowdsourced kind of questions from a ton of different people. And the great thing about Twitter is you not only have to just throw it out to the world, you can actually @reply and reach out very specifically to celebrities and influencers and reach them. Whereas on a lot of other platforms you don't necessarily have that access. So long story short, people tweeted questions for Old Spice, and Old Spice made over 85 different videos of their character, I guess I'll call him, responding to these questions in little short, like 30, 45-second vignettes. Hilarious, customized, obviously, a big production expense and kind of a large-scale way to reach people and to get that brand recognition, but very novel nonetheless. And you can also see how it could kind of compare down to a smaller level of, fundamentally soliciting questions and opinions and things like that, crowdsourcing them from Twitter, and then creating customized content in answer or in response to those types of crowdsourced things.
I will say, if I could just chime in, I think Twitter is amazing for a lot of reasons from a client perspective. And first and foremost, it lets you get out a message in your words more quickly than you could ever otherwise. Meaning, if you were going to go to kind of a top media outlet, whether it's a traditional outlet or an online outlet for that matter, there would certainly be a delay in kind of getting out whatever your message is. And in Twitter, you can sort of be super responsive and super reactive. And we've seen a lot of brands do that very successfully, certainly from a customer service perspective, but also in the capacity where they may be breaking news on Twitter because they want to be the ones to get that news into the world as opposed to a media outlet. We've done some cool things in the past. Rachel Roy is one of our clients, and for the launch of her collection, Rachel Roy at Macy's, we actually broke some of that news via Twitter. We broke the news of her collaboration with Estelle on Twitter. And it was really interesting, and it's a great case study that we now present, to see how that news reached ultimately a wealth of amazing influential bloggers, and then it also wound up in print outlets the next day. It wound up in Women's Wear Daily. It wound up in Grazia in the UK, because Twitter is such a great avenue to reach not only consumers, but also influencers.
Very true.